So, lads, the Indiana Fever's Aari McDonald has been a game changer. She's been an absolute game changer for the Indiana Fever. And look, I'm going to be honest here. I was so wrong with yesterday's game. I was so wrong. Like, look, I watched the Sky play against the Wings, even the Wings with Paige Bueckers, and they looked competent. They looked competent. Like, Ariel Atkins was averaging 20 points a game over 3 games. They needed to beat the Mercury, who are pretty good. Like, the Sky looked decent. The Sky actually had looked decent for a couple of games. And apologies, I'm leaning back. I've no back support here, so the Sky looked pretty decent. They looked genuinely decent. And I was so wrong. And a big reason why I was wrong was Aari McDonald. Like, my logic was the Fever don't have their best player. They don't have arguably their best bench player. And they don't have their coach. So I was just like, you know what? I'm calling Sky by 5. And I was so wrong. And a big reason why I was wrong was Aari McDonald. And this is one thing that I'm seeing everywhere in the media. And obviously this is from Rosalina Lee. Shout out Rosalina, working for Sports Illustrated. But you're seeing everywhere in the media where they're talking about the Indiana Fever don't have a clear cut way of signing Aari McDonald. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. The Indiana Fever have one very clear cut way of signing Aari McDonald. It's cutting somebody. If they cannot cut a end of the bench player for optics reasons to get the best backup point guard in the WNBA, not named Ty Harris, if they cannot cut a player for optics reasons, they're not serious about winning. I don't care. The Lynx will cut players for optics reasons. Even the Valkyries cut Letitia Amihere. And they're bringing her back, only to cut her. They're probably going to cut her again after Eurobasket. They don't care. They watched preseason. Torre and Amihere were the 2 best players in preseason. Both of them gone. Both of them gone. The Aces, relentless, cutting Deja Kelly. The Liberty didn't really bring in anyone of note. The Lynx, like, when Grace Berger got cut from the Fever, she got picked up straight away. She was a sought-after player. She was a sought-after player as a free agent prior to the season. The Lynx signed her immediately. Immediately. And she didn't go make that team. Like, there were a lot of other teams probably looking for her, and then they filled up their slots and didn't want it. She wasn't good enough to use or to take someone out of a team, and they cut her. They're relentless. But like, looking at this right here, I've seen plenty of articles, and this is obviously from Rosalina talking about it, and basically it's just about the Fever fans' return of a healthy roster is supposed to be good news, becomes a side effect of the likely release of guard Aari McDonald, who's quickly become a fan favourite. And McDonald signed a hardship replacement, bringing energy, defense, pace to the floor. According to Richard Cohen, her hoop stats due to WNBA's roster, she must be released once they return to 10 healthy players. The only road to keeping her is by cutting a current player on an unprotected contract and waiting 10 days to bring her back on board. The option of waiting until later in the season when they have the salary cap space. That's start of July. Start of July, they're going to have the salary cap space. But it's an obvious one. Like, why is this a conversation? Why is it even a conversation? Apologies, I am extremely hot right now. I'm extremely hot and taking a random t-shirt that I owned when I was 16 from my parents' house. Wearing it right now, but it is like, it's an obvious one. You cut Breanna Turner. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't do anything. It's as simple as that. And that's not a personal shot at Breanna Turner, even though people in the WNBA think you're taking personal shots at people whenever you criticize basketball. It's an obvious one. This is it. McDonald has to be released and they get back to 10 healthy players, but could be re-signed a regular contract by cutting someone and waiting 10 days. So you have to wait 10 days. So the Fever has to wait 10 days on bringing in a player. That is a given. That's a rule. That is the rule. The Fever have to wait 10 days. But like, why not just wait 10 days? Because people are like, oh, but like another team can sign her in the meantime. Who's signing her to a full contract? Nobody has the salary cap. The only teams that have the salary cap to sign her to a full contract for the remainder of the season are like the Mystics, the Valkyries, who neither of them are going to do it, or I'm trying to think off the top of my head, who has the cap space. The Liberty have the cap space if Emma Simmons not going, but they're holding it out for her. Like, it's one of those teams that have the cap space. But none of them really need her. And people are like, oh, what if she signs another hardship contract player? And it's like, people are like, oh, she can sign a hardship contract for Slew. But if she does, they don't have the salary to do that. Just like the Seattle Storm can't get a hardship contract player for Katie Lou or Nika Mule. Don't have the salary for it. But it's just a thing. Or sorry, Nika Mule's contract, she's not getting paid. The salary for Katie Lou Samuelson, they can't get a hardship for her salary. Just like the Sky won't be able to get a hardship for Sleuths. Either way, the hardship is only going to be a temporary thing. Like, another team's not going to sign a full contract. So even if she does sign a hardship, if you guys don't remember last year, the Mercury wanted to keep Celeste Taylor. She ended up, when the Mercury had to get rid of Celeste Taylor, she signed a 10-day with the Sun, and then immediately at the end of that 10-day signed for the rest of the season with the Mercury. And that's probably what's going to happen. The only way that doesn't happen is if they are insistent on keeping Bree Turner. Because I do think Aari McDonald is going to be picked up by a team. It will be picked up by a team before the 1st of July, which is basically around the time the Fever can get her. Oh, it's around the 1st of July. And either way, it's not like this is new from Aari McDonald. People are like, oh, other teams, she's going to audition for other teams. Like, no, the Fever are going to keep her. If the Fever don't keep her, there's going to be freaking riots. If the Fever don't keep her, and I saw actually a tweet from Ken Swift. This is when I first saw this. I think the streets are saying we aren't signing her. This would be incredibly disappointing. If we can't cut a backup player because of politics or optics, we aren't serious about winning. If that was the case, they would all be on guaranteed contracts. Guess we know within the next week. But when we think about what Aari brings to the team, it's more in the stat line. She's making people like Kelsey perform better. Boils down to what Aari wants. After her contract's terminated, she has 10 days to decide where she wants to go. And if you have 10 days to decide if they want to cut or if they want, if they both want each other, we have to have a slot for her. And that's the thing. It's likely going to come down to, like, I mean this when I say this, there is no way that, like, Aari McDonald has played really well for 4 years, or for 3 years in her career, or 21, 22, 23, 24. She played well for 4 years. Played in the playoffs in one of those years, was a starter for one of those years. She was decent for the Sparks last year. And I can guarantee you that she is more relevant now than she's ever been in her career. She seems to be happy out. She seems to be balling. She seems to be doing well. She seems to be happy with the team. Players in interviews are being asked about her. A lot of new fans learning about hardship contracts. Like, it does not make any sense for her not to want to come back to the Fever. It's whether or not the Fever front office are serious or not. And I don't know if they are. Look, this Fever front office did not scout in Europe. They did not scout in Europe. And I don't just mean scouting Europeans. They didn't scout in Europe, period. They didn't scout to see what Catherine Westbeld, a perfect player for this team, was doing over in Europe. Didn't scout to see overseas what Lexi Held was doing, who's killing it for the Mercury. Didn't see what Monica Cole-McCanny was doing in France. And you might be saying, oh, those leagues are worse. Like, they're a hell of a lot better than Unrivaled. They're a hell of a lot higher standard ball than Unrivaled. Not player for player, but basketball's a higher standard. Like, there are players that they can get. There's players they can recruit, and they chose not to recruit in Europe, whether that be recruiting Americans in Europe. And maybe you can say, oh, Natasha Howard was killed in Europe. And in fairness, Natasha Howard was pretty decent. She was pretty decent. And we saw yesterday, like, I actually don't hate Natasha Howard as a signing. I don't even hate them. Like, I don't hate any of Natasha Howard, Bree Turner, Dewana Bonner. I don't like the Bree Turner signing. I don't hate the Natasha Howard, Dewana Bonner, or Sydney Colson signing. I just hate all three of them. I hate that instead of going for any players in their, like, 20s on to try grow with Caitlin Clark, they signed all three. I hate that they signed all of them. I don't hate that they signed one of them. I don't hate that they signed two of them. I hate that they signed all of them. All of them together. Not individually. I think all of them as individual signings were good. But they can't mess it up. They screwed up the offseason. They cannot mess up again by getting rid of Aari McDonald. But anyway, I'll see you guys.